So let's bring in our Fox Business panel. Maria Bartiromo, Larry Kudlow, Charles Payne, and Kevin O'Leary. Great to see you all. Maria, you know, it's not just the betting markets on the election, it's the markets that were betting prior to this election day. Right. What are we to divine from all of that tonight?
Well, I think when you're talking about investors and businesses, Brett, Martha, I think you really have to look at economic policy and tax policy in particular. The one issue that is bothering investors and corporations out there is the plan of Kamala Harris to raise the corporate tax rate to 28%. We haven't seen that in a long time, and the word on that is that that cuts into wages. Something's got to give. When a corporation is looking at a 28% corporate tax rate, it's likely that that means less money for employees and wages. So that's one of the issues that business and investors are worried about. Her economic policy, of course, Trump has talked about a 15% corporate tax rate if you're doing business in America. Also, you want to expect issues and differences on energy policy, and probably the sleeper of them all is regulation. Kamala Harris is likely to come out with a whole host of new regulations around the climate change agenda, which has been a real issue for the Biden-Harris administration already. Things like a company has to evaluate and assess the impact from emissions from their companies and that company's customers. Very expensive, creates the need to hire lots of consultants, and that's what business is worried about when it comes to economic policy.
Maria, thank you. Larry Kudlow joined the party here. Tell us what you're watching as we start to get more of these numbers loading in here on the Electoral College map.
Well, I think right now, you know, I'd like to be in Trump's shoes right now, but I don't think it's conclusive. We need more numbers, need more data. Some good news, but I just don't think there are enough numbers. You know, I agree with the assessment that Maria made on the policy front. But be honest with you, number one, I don't think the stock market yet knows who's going to win or what the policies are going to be. It's watching like a hawk, but I don't think it knows yet. I mean, I don't know. We've got to see what happens tonight. Number two, Trump has this working class coalition. It's a different Republican Party. You know, it started with him in 2015, 2016. It's ebbed and flowed. I think it's closed in high tide. The question is, with that kind of coalition, working folks, whites, blacks, Hispanics, young people, others, will it work? Will it hold? Was there enough of an expansion in Mr. Trump's base to put him over and win? I mean, a lot of people think he is. He's going to get much better numbers with Hispanics than he ever had before. He's going to peel off a lot of black votes for young people's vote. That was his strategy. I think it's a good strategy. It's not your father's Republican Party anymore. It's not that they hate business, but the business roundtable CEOs are not the center of the new party. The question is, could he expand that working class coalition enough to win this election? And give me another hour or two, and I'll try to answer that question.
We'll try to get you some more data there, Larry. Charles, you know, the Republican Party has changed, but the issue of the economy, the vice president has closed that, according to the latest polls. I mean, he was up big when you asked that question early, but as she closed, it got to within 2, 4, it was 6 points for us in the closing days.
Yeah, Vice President Harris benefited from a couple of things, I think. First, the media. Every time economic data comes out, it's great, phenomenal. Of course, Friday, we learned that last month, we lost 28,000 private sector jobs. And by the way, you can talk about all the storms you want. All the experts who they put together to come up with these consensus numbers also factor that in. Our jobs numbers have been going down steadily since 2021, and now wages are really beginning to drop big time. Last week we had what they call the employment cost index. Wages are dropping, and that's bad news for everyone, particularly folks who are already having trouble keeping up. The inflation issue, and Trump went out on a dangerous limb when he talked about tariffs, because conservative economists hate it. Obviously, the media is going to hate it. No one will talk about the fact that the tariffs that he put in already have worked tremendously, have really hit China really hard. And by the way, the Biden administration pounced on them. They didn't take them away. They actually added to them. So, but all that negative press to go out there and say, I'm going to do this, when everyone's saying it's going to hurt the economy, a lot of people are listening to that. But still, folks know the bottom line is that The top 20% of Americans are doing 40% of the consumption. They have made all of the money under Biden-Harris policies, including flooding our country with cash we did not need. It was fun for regular folks when you got the stimmy check and went to the mall, but now everyone outside of the top 20% suffering big time.
May I add one thing, Martha, to the comment on jobs? Because here, too, it goes right back to policy, and that is the open border policy. The open border has not just had the effect on national security and our own personal security. The open border is an economic issue. For the last several years, what we have been seeing is an increase in jobs for non-citizens, illegal and legal, and a decrease in jobs for American citizens. That's important. People understand
Kevin
that.
O'Leary, just with the quick time we have left, she has talked a lot about being from the middle class. It was the first sentence out of her mouth a lot. President Trump has been promising a golden age in an American economic future. What do you see winning these voters over tonight?
Well, I was disciplined when I was listening to both parties and disappointed we didn't get into policy enough because it got crazy towards the end last few weeks. Let's go back to taxation. We compete internationally. It's not like this is just isolated to the U.S. A 28% tax rate takes us into the bottom quartile of competition. That means capital goes to other places. That's not a good outcome. So I would have liked to talk more about that. The idea of taxing unrealized capital gains is beyond insane. Nobody ever discussed that in the last 2 weeks. I look at that. I have to invest tomorrow morning no matter what happens. And the idea of price controls, that's a bad idea too. We left those alone, and they are very, very dangerous ideas.
But don't you think, I mean, with all due respect, Trump hammered away on every single thing you just talked about. He completely opposes the corporate tax.
All I remember was Nazi hunters.
All right, guys,
and I remember firing squads.
Well,
then
we
you
will
need
come
to
back to
read
you guys.
you need to read the stories
You
more
guys
carefully.
continue the
you need
argument.
To read it more carefully.
Larry, Maria, Charles, Mr. Wonderful, continue
Thank
that
you
talk.
all.
We're going to make some calls.